I have updated my playlists to help you find what you're looking for, anything from controversial topics that are relevant to Christian geeks, interviews with creators like author Brent Weeks and The Chosen's Dallas Jenkins, growing in faith as a geek, tabletop gaming, comic books, video games, movies, and TV shows, or you can just get to know me a little bit better. There is a playlist for you with more content being added to them all the time, so I hope you'll take a look and enjoy what you find. Thanks. Well, my editing skills are crap, but can the same thing be said about Stowaway? Stick around and find out. Not happy with that. I couldn't think of a better space theme song. I don't know the theme song for 2001. Is that the, never mind. Hey, I'm Peter Franson from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. This is my uncut review of Stowaway, which just released this week on Netflix. The synopsis on IMDb reads, "A stowaway on a mission to Mars sets off a series of unintended consequences." Very short. I don't want to say much more about the premise than that. There are 3 astronauts on a mission to Mars. They discover a stowaway, and then they have to deal with that. They have to figure out, okay, why is he on the ship, and what ramifications is that going to have for a space mission that's still in a setting of near future science fiction. So we're not talking Star Trek. We're talking, I don't know, what's that George Clooney movie? They're still dealing with gravity that at best is produced by spinning a space station around, and spacesuits that look very much like the NASA suits we've seen. Just a little bit of advanced technology, but, for the most part, it has this very grounded, very near future kind of feel to it. So those kinds of missions have to be planned with such mathematical precision that if you have another whole human being suddenly on board that was unaccounted for, then you have to figure out how are people going to survive. It has major effects on the mission and the survivability of everyone involved. And then you're not even, bringing into the equation why he's on the ship, So, you can just kind of imagine where the story might go from there, and it's better to just watch it rather than speculate too much. As far as what this animal is, the story, the script, the pacing, the tone, well, it's a sci-fi drama with some suspense for sure, but mostly it's a drama. It's very actor and performance driven. Lots of subtext going on in these performances, which I really appreciate. It just allows the actors to create the mood and convey emotion and help you as a viewer feel emotion, all based on their performances and their interactions with each other. There are some plot holes, I think, and some logical problems that I think those who go to fiction primarily for story rather than character are likely going to pick apart, and it's likely going to distract them. That's my guess. Character lovers, which would be more me, I care more about a story that has great characters that I can really connect to, especially when those characters are created through actor performances. I can overlook and even miss story logic issues if those performances, if those characters are engaging enough. But even as someone that loves that element of storytelling, that's primarily why I go to stories, and found it very fulfilling the way that those characters were presented to me. Still, I was a bit distracted now and then by some of the logic things going on with this. There's moral complexity big time, dealing with questions of survival, and that I think are intended to make us feel that suspense as a viewer of, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're faced with this decision. What would I do in this decision, So it's definitely that kind of drama. As far as the cast goes, Anna Kendrick gets highest billing, and it was interesting to see her in this straight dramatic role. I'm used to seeing her, I think, exclusively in comedic roles or character roles. She'll be in quirky dramas, she'll be in dramas, but dramas that are quirky, and that she will have at least some comedy that she's executing on. And here she was really less funny than anything I've ever seen her in, and More likable to me. I think sometimes I've seen her a lot as kind of a snarky or a smart alecky kind of character, and as a result, I don't tend to like the characters that she plays. But I found her much more likable, much more agreeable, and less funny. But I don't think that's the reason I found her more likable. Toni Collette, though, was the standout to me. She presented volumes of dialogue with just her face when she was not speaking. I mean, she is this character performer that I could just watch her not talk for probably hours. And with her face and her command over her expression, she can be funny. She can be really dramatically engaging. She carries these one-sided intercom exchanges where you can't hear the person on the other side of the comms. She carries them so well, and as she's listening to the other side, and all you hear is in the distance, but her reactions, I can almost flesh out the entirety of what was said on the other side of the comms, And she, by herself, created almost my entire sense and feel for the stakes in this movie with her performance. If you like her acting, it's reason enough by itself, I think, to give this movie a watch. I don't have any complaints about the other two actors who are not near as well known or familiar to me, but they did a solid job. I would just call out Toni Collette as really the standout by far to me. Okay, let's talk about the stunts and visuals. Very little in the department of stunts. This is a drama more than a thriller or certainly not an action movie. And it's also largely a movie in a bottle, where they have a really nice-looking set, but it's a very finite and contained set, this floating space station that they're on. It's a very small cast, only 4 actors that you see at any time in the entire movie, I think. And it was probably a great movie for those reasons to make during a pandemic, which I assume it started filming and wrapped up filming maybe entirely within the timeline of the COVID pandemic. It didn't feel cheap, though. Like I said, it had a really nice looking set, even though it was limited in size. And it has a small cast, but a great cast filled with really solid actors and really nice looking costumes as well. So I think that the camera work also plays with and subverts expectations by the way that it focuses on actors and characters. You would expect, given a certain shot composition, that the focus is going to be on one character, but instead that one's blurry, and this other one that's barely in the shot gets the clearer focus with the camera. And so the camera would do things at times and focus in ways that made me just lean forward and kind of like think, what should I be paying attention to here? I mean, there's a lot of things about this movie in the performances or in the camera work that just lent themselves to making me want to lean forward and pay close attention. So I felt engaged from beginning to end in this movie, and the visual style of it was certainly a contributing factor there. So yeah, a really nice looking film, despite undoubtedly having lower production costs once you set aside the actors' fees and maybe the director's fee as well. Okay, so is there anything of moral, philosophical, or spiritual significance going on in the themes of this thing that might trigger some worthwhile thought or conversation? Yeah, absolutely. How important is survival? Is it the highest moral imperative? Are some lives more valuable than others because of their utilitarian function and contribution to the group? Do accomplishments, even noble self-sacrifice, make one's life quote-unquote meaningful? There's the idea of a life being meaningful brought up in the dialogue at a couple of points. The drama also hangs on the moral dilemmas that are presented by this movie. So I think that a number of viewers may be too distracted by the logistical problems in the story to want to engage with those moral dilemmas, but they are very much present and could easily, I think, be a springboard for worthwhile thought or conversation afterward. All right, now, I have no idea what your tastes are in movies, but if I were a time traveler, I'd go back in time and say, Peter, yeah, don't miss this one. It's not like urgent and like, oh my gosh. In fact, it's not super memorable and definitely has some story logic problems that are going to stand out to you, but it's going to slot very nicely into an evening's free time when you want a character-focused sci-fi drama. It's rated TVMA for language. You can get my spoiler reactions later today at the $1 tier or higher at patreon.com/spiritbladeproductions. And yeah, there was a lot I could not talk about in this review that I just open up and talk about in that video going up later today. But those are my thoughts. I would love to get yours in the comments below. Please like, share, subscribe, click that bell to stay connected. I want to thank the Spirit Blade Insiders for making this review possible. You can get more info about the benefits of becoming an insider at patreon.com/spiritbladeproductions. And then, of course, I hope you'll join us soon over christiangeekcentral.com as we continue to geek out and seek the truth. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. We've got a ton going on here at Spirit Blade Productions and Christian Geek Central, including our in-depth Bible study for geeks, movie, game, and other entertainment reviews or commentary, live streams, Christian geek news, original audio dramas, and tons more. And on top of all that, you can become a Spirit Blade insider with an influential voice and get access to exclusive content and rewards. It's your involvement as a patron that will keep all of this going and growing, so I want to thank you for your consideration in that. For more information, please check out our Patreon page through the link below at patreon.com/spiritbladeproductions. Thanks for listening.